Hello, 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 everybody. How we all doing out there? I'm doing pretty well. I've had a jam-packed day so far. I got to see some friends who I haven't seen in a very long time, and we went on some nice walks. So I'm a little, a little tuckered, but I am back in the relax zone. I'm looking forward to having a very chill stream today. We're gonna crack into a new sketchbook, which I'm super excited about. Brand new. Haven't even taken off like the little wrapper thing yet. Oh, I'm so excited. Ooh, got some new gouache. I love to hear it. Well, we are just about at the hour, so I'm just going to take a quick sip. And without further ado, let's switch it over and see if the camera is in proper position. Hopefully it is. Boop. Perfect. Perfectamundo. So as you can see, we've got this page from the last sketchbook, and you'll recognize these because I painted them very recently. But this page here is the one that I will be doing the giveaway with today. So somebody in the chat's going to have a chance to win this page, which has a painting on both sides. So stick around for that if you're interested. I'll be doing that later on in the stream. I'm going to move this off to the side here. And then I'm going to move this right here. Brand new sketchbook. Got another Pentalic Aqua Journal. As you can see, the 5x8, 48 pages. Nice heavy cotton paper. Never been opened. So I'm going to take out this little thingy. Set that aside. Oh, feels so fun starting a new sketchbook. Brand new. So I've got my watercolor pencil here. We'll do some sketching, we'll do some drawing, and we'll do some painting. Now, one of the nice things that I did today was we went to a plant nursery, so I got to see a lot of plants, and thankfully I had the foresight and the presence of mind to take some pictures for reference. That new sketchbook smell, I don't know if... Look, I don't want to be weird here. Doesn't really have a smell. It's not like these sketchbooks aren't really like when you get a new book, like a new reading book. Those have got such a nice smell. I used to love going into bookstores for that reason, and libraries. Back when such things were more common. So I'm going through my phone here. There's my phone. And I'm going to look at the photos that I took today, and I'm going to pick something. Probably a couple of things that we can do today. I'm going to start with this first page. There's nothing on the inside cover. It's actually kind of interesting. No, I don't have my other sketchbook near me anymore. But I thought that there was like a single page at the beginning before the first like actual paintable page. Oh, maybe it's just like a slightly different paper grit or something. At any rate, I hope everyone's doing good here on this weekend. Sketchbook Saturday, as I've begun to call it. There were so many nice plants, unsurprisingly, at the place where they sell plants, but it's still really early in the spring, relatively. So a lot of them were just budding, you know? They weren't fully, like, popping yet. Hey, Abby, how's it going? Also, how dare you? Yeah, so a lot of the plants were still in the bud stage. They weren't really flowering at this point, but a couple of them were, and they looked really cool and very bright and vibrant. So I want to try tackling at least one. Like, look at this one. Isn't that pretty? Look how bright. So I'm really bad with plant names, but there was a whole bunch of different types. This one here was my favorite. It had all of these sort of like dangling tiny, they look like tiny little roses, and they almost, I think it's japonica, and they looked like porcelain. Like they had that kind of shiny surface. Absolutely beautiful. So I would like to paint some botanicals today. Oh, here's a close-up I took of that plant. Like, look at the tiny, they're so tiny, and they look like delicate little roses kind of hanging down, but they hang in these big pods. It's really incredible. It was so nice to get out there and be around people. It's not a thing that I do as often currently, but things are starting to open up more here. So it was really, really nice. This one was wild. I might take a swing at this one today. Look at that. Look at that. Big waxy leaves. Most of the ones they had on display and out at this time of year were the really hardy ones, the ones that like can really survive a lot of conditions. This is that japonica plant, but there was different variants. So that the one that I showed you before was really pink, and this one has tons and tons of little white buds, which is really cool. So I guess we'll move on from the I'm just showing you photographs inside my telephone. Actually, no, I'm going to show you this one also. So we took a walk by the duck marsh, and there was this tree that was just starting to bud and flower in, and it looked like it was covered in these little like caterpillars, but it was actually structures on the tree. It was so neat. It was a very, very nice time spent looking at plants with friends. Highly recommend. The ducks were going bonkers wild at the duck marsh today. I mean, 'tis the season. I think a lot of them, especially there was a bunch of geese there as well, and I think they're all just coming back now. So they were being very noisy. And we had a lot of flybys. They were diving down over our heads. Yeah, we are living squarely in the bonkers time of year. So one of my favorite things to do when I'm painting botanicals, especially large leafy structures like this thing here, what you want to do and focus on is a lot of the light areas, and then you can just cut into them using negative painting, make the dark areas around them, and in that way you create the leaves. And that's something that I would like to do first with this painting day. Also, I think it would be really fun to have just a super bright green, bold painting on that first page. So I'm going to plug my phone in so it doesn't die while I'm trying to paint this. I'm going to make sure that my screen doesn't shut off as I paint, because I will be painting from my phone. Display. Screen timeout. 30 minutes. Okay, cool. thrill as I go through phone settings. Okay. So I'll set that there. Well, actually, no, I'll hold it. I don't want to accidentally splash water on my phone. All right, so we're just going to draw in some of these leaves. I'm going to take kind of a close-up. Oh, Lion, thank you so much for gifting that sub. I'm going to do a bit of a close-up on this image and really focus in on some of these leaves. The way that the leaves reflect light on their waxy surface is really, really nice because you can sort of paint on a bit of like a light blue or whatever the sky is doing that day. A nice thing to do if you're trying to, like if you struggle with unevenness when you're creating botanicals, a good thing to do is just draw yourself a really rough guide. Because most of nature, random though it may be, does follow certain patterns. So for instance, this plant that I'm drawing right here, I'm focusing on this one, and it's got, you can almost trace a circle around where the leaves go, even though there's lots of space in between those leaves. So I'm just drawing like a really big rough circle, and then I can plot out those leaves around. Now also, if I want to like really work on the structures of this, you can also go and make a small circle here, and that's where the stems meet the leaves, and then that will help you plot those as well. It's all about breaking things down into smaller things. That's a lot of the fundamentals of making anything that looks super complex. So I'll plot in where all the stems are, around the central structure. And then get those big old leaves. It was a gray and overcast day today, but it was warm, which felt really, really nice to be out in the fresh air. Even though I may have slightly overdone it with the walking around part of my day, I have very few regrets because it was so lovely. So here there's a bit of interplay between the leaf and the leaf of the neighboring plant. It's kind of going in behind, and then this one's going down in front. And then there's various leaves back here. There's other plants and structures and things. We don't want to focus too much on those, so I'm just very nebulously making those shapes. And we're going to fill in most of that with kind of softer color mixes. Almost like you're filming it with like a different focal length, and it blurs the background a little bit. That depth of field. Okay, so with that done, now we're going to pick some colors. So I will go ahead and grab... Normally I don't go for a pre-mixed green, and I'm not going to use it too much, but I'm going to get a little bit of permanent green middle, just in case I need that strong punch. Because sometimes when you're mixing a color, you run the risk of, when you're going back and forth, you might dull it a little bit. So that's if I need a really, really strong green to peek through. I'll get some zinc white for opacity. We'll be using that a lot when we're putting the highlights on. And then we'll get some colors to mix our green together. So for that, we're going to go with primary blue. I'll also be using primary blue for some of those highlights, because as I said, when it's like a sunny sky or even an overcast sky, when there's natural sunlight, it creates a blue light that will reflect off of those waxy leaves. I'll grab myself some primary yellow, as well as yellow ochre, and those will be the components of all of our secondary greens. I'm going to get a little bit of burnt umber as a warm offset. And it's always good to have opposites on hand to create color contrasts. So I'm going to put down a little bit of alizarin crimson, because it's really nice next to a green to have a dark purple, which we can mix with the red and the blue, and that will create a really strong green. All right, let's get our 1-inch flat brush and just get right in there. I'm going to pick up my reference photograph. Now for this, we want to start again with the light masses. So all of those bright yellowish colors, we're going to start with those. And we can go very wet with this mix because we want to basically create areas we can drop color into. That's the real beauty of doing the negative painting, putting the light areas in and then the dark areas around those, because you don't have to stay in any lines. You can just splash around and have fun. The most important thing at this stage is that we're trying to just cover up areas of the white of the paper. Now there is one thing I forgot, which is I should get a clamp for this paper because it is going to start curling up. So I'm going to go get that. Perfect. Now at this point I'm getting into smaller details, so I'm probably going to switch over to my calligraphy brush. And then I've got to find that balance again between too much water and not enough water. You notice at this point I'm also using less white paint. But occasionally I will be dipping back into it to find that opacity. I'll be trying to slowly just build up the layers as I work toward darker and darker values. Just trying to get that texture on the leaf. And I'm dipping into colors that don't technically appear on the leaf, but that have similar value, because I don't want everything just to be the same color. Because even when I'm looking at the reference photo, I love the shape of the leaf, but if you're looking at it, you know, it can get kind of lost in itself because everything in the picture is green. And I don't really want that same kind of visual clutter to inhabit the painting that I'm making. Because when you're making a painting, you know, you're in charge, right? You're basically trying to dictate the coolest parts. The stuff where you're like, hey, check this out. Have I ever tried to put a underlayer of solid color, yellow, blue, etc., like James Gurney does? Yes. I have done a bunch of pages in my sketchbooks where I'll use really, really cheap, what's it called? Toll paint, like crafter paint from Michaels. The stuff that's like 50 cents for a bottle. It's fantastic because it creates this really solid plasticky layer underneath that you can paint on top of. So color choice, I mean, it can come down to a lot of different factors. Mostly what I'm using to guide me is colors next to other colors and how those relationships work. So I know that if I put down a cool color next to a warm color, that it can have a certain effect, i.e. making it look more vibrant or duller. So that's why I'll be using a lot of warmer, deeper tones. You'll see when I do the cutting around these plants, I'll be using a lot of warm tones. And by doing that, I'm hoping that the kind of, not fluorescence, but like the luminosity of the sunlight will be felt because the leaves will be cool, even though they'll also be the most lit thing in the painting, which hopefully, a lot of this is trial and error, but hopefully my intent is to convey sunlight without needing it to be a warm color. Yes, it's lit. Exactly. But I'm trying to, within that, find other cool colors to use, which is why I dipped into a purple, because I know that it's another cool color that I can go to, and it has a color wheel relationship with green where they're opposites, more or less. Red is the opposite of green, like, strictly speaking, but seeing as how I'm using a lot of yellow-green, purple kind of fits more, like a purple-red, as far as, like, the opposition. How many channel points do we need for me to dab? Oh dear. Probably more than you can currently afford, because if I dab in my current state, my bones might collapse. I have been trying to think of more community challenges that we can donate into, because I think that would be very fun. The finger painting stream was very fun. It's also nice to have a pre-made green here on the palette, because I can instantly dip that into the red, and since they're opposites on the color wheel, they will turn into a very nice dark color. So now to even out, I'm going to mix back up into a yellow color. To make sure if I have to put any more, maybe some more blue. I feel like blue is sorely needed on all of the sunlit surfaces to really nail home that blue light effect. So I'm going to do that just to balance those things out. I can, of course, always go over top opaquely. That is the mighty power of gouache. I'm so excited to get to the dark colors here, but I have to take my time. I gotta set it up properly. But I'm gonna start very gradually going down into the darker colors. So I'll start with these earth tones, these yellows and browns, and then I'm gonna end on my dark purples and eventually my green and red mixed together, which is going to approach a very dark, almost black, but not quite. So a lot of what I'm doing here is making an off-balanced green, because in the reference image, I mean, it's just more green in behind all of these things, but I want the leaves that I painted first to be the focus. So I want them to take the green spotlight. For a lot of the parts where I want my darkest colors to be, I do need to wait for the surface to become dry. So I'm also trying to plan my approach as I go. And the important thing with organics is just keep those colors changing. So you'll get lots of good variants. And it won't look static or artificial. I do like the idea of us all doing a paint-along together. That sounds really fun. I'm definitely all for that. Oh, Luxardus, thank you so much for subscribing with Prime. 8 months now. My goodness. I'm trying to keep the areas up here a little bit lighter. So I'm using watered down mixtures of the same dark colors. It's the exact same colors, but I'm thinning the paint out a little bit. Just because I want to keep some luminosity going from top to bottom in the image. So a lot of the cutouts I'll be doing down here will be much darker. I do want some intense presence. Right next to it over here. So at this point, I've more or less left the reference behind. And now I'm just trying to figure out ways to balance the piece and how it feels to me and that kind of thing. So a lot of that is just looking at the values, taking a step back, reevaluating, and just trying to get it the way that I feel it, you know? Which all sounds very artsy, but it's just a lot of going back and forth. Just really trying to gather a sense. But I'm liking it. I like how the piece is lit. And it certainly got way more color variance than the photograph did. The photograph was very straightforward. I think after we finish this first sketch, I'll do the giveaway. I feel like we've got a good group of folks here now. So while we're taking our mid-stream break, I will hop over to Twitter and let them know, and then we can give away that page. which means I need to start thinking about what fun code word am I going to get everyone to type into the chat. Thank you. I'm having a lot of fun with the Earthbound aesthetic for my stream overlay. I've already started thinking and brainstorming about what I'd like to do for my next one. I think I'd like to switch it up quarterly, so maybe every 3 months or so. Do a new fun stream layout. Okay, I'm gonna call this one done. It's a really fun little first page for our book. Oh yeah, do it up, Redbird. Okay. Now, there is a sketch request, so I'm going to get some paper. I don't think I have any of my little sketch cards here by my bedside. But I'm also going to tweet out about the giveaway. And I'm going to say, everyone get ready, because we're going to do the giveaway very soon. So let me tweet it out. Giveaway time. Get in chat for your chance to win this page. And again, the fun thing about winning a sketchbook page is you basically get 2 arts for the price of nothing. Okay, so I'm tweeting that out. We'll give a few minutes for folks to get in here. I can get a piece of paper for my sketch request, and I can also bring up, I'm gonna go to my bookmarks here, bring up Nightbot so we can do our giveaway. So everyone in chat will be eligible. Those who are subscribed get a 2x bonus modifier for the giveaway. And that's pretty much it. I do ship worldwide, so it does not matter where you live. I will ship to you. If you live on the moon, it might take longer. I'll have to throw it really hard at the sky. So I'm going to mute myself really quick and go get that sketch card. Okay, I'm back. I've got cards for sketching on, and we are ready for giveaway. So I will move my sketchbook to the side so it can gently dry while we do our giveaway and sketches. And I will put down. So this is what we are doing the giveaway for. It's this page from my sketchbook here with spring flowers on one side and a nighttime city on the other. So let's get ready. I've got Nightbot open. I'm logging on. So all you have to do to be eligible is type the word that I'm going to put in chat, and I will say it out loud as well. But I always copy and paste it into chat just so you know the exact spelling. It's super easy. That's all you have to do. As long as you have the word typed into chat, you will be entered automatically. Okay. The word that I am going to choose And again, I will be copying and pasting it into chat so everyone can just copy and paste it themselves, or you can type it out. No capital letters involved. We don't do that sort of thing around here. The word is springtime. Springtime, all one word, no capitals. Springtime. You type that in and you will be eligible and entered. I will send a whisper to the winner with instructions on how to go ahead and get the piece. It's very simple. You basically just email me your shipping address and then I send it to you. So I will give it a couple of minutes just to make sure that everyone who wants to enter can enter. Springtime, springtime. If you just joined, springtime. All one word, no capitals, is all you gotta put in the chat in order to be eligible. All right, I'm gonna roll in 3, 2, 1, rolling. All right, 01 Chaotic Chaplain 10. You have just won. You won, you won, you won. This very page from the sketchbook is going to be on its way to you quite soon. So congratulations. Thank y'all for participating. And we are already 16 subs into the next sub goal, which means that once we hit that, the clock resets again and another art giveaway happens. So just so you know, and also our April follower goal will be the same sort of deal. So now I need to remember how to do whispers. Oh, Twitch. There we go. Done and done. I love doing a giveaway. That's very fun. And now we get to do a sketch request. Because the law is the law. A toad/frog sitting under a leaf. So cute. I love it. Let me look up what a toad looks like. I mean, I could cheat and just draw a Toad from Super Mario Brothers, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna draw a real Toad. A toad is like a frog, but fully stanced up. Toads always look strong. Big fan of how my blotting paper looks today, by the way. The greens and blues into the purples. That is a fine combination. All right, Toad under a leaf. There we go. Just a little toad hanging out underneath a leaf. Powered by the toad. All right, let's get the sketchbook back here into frame before we start on our next page. Well, thank you, Chaotic Chaplain, for gifting those subs. That's very nice of you. Enjoy the bears, everyone. Oh, I should take a drink. Okay, for my next trick, I'm going to paint a little landscape. Wrong pencil. So in addition to going to a plant nursery today, my friends and I also took a walk around the duck marsh. And I had never been to the duck marsh at this time of year before. And it looks very different from when I usually go, which is during the summer and fall. It looked very, I mean, it's in a period of renewal, right? The springtime. All the animals are coming back, but a lot of the plant life is still kind of in that shaking off the rust, like hibernative coming back state. None of the trees have budded yet, so everything feels very small. It's the best way I could describe it, because usually you go there and the foliage is nuts. Like, the trees are huge and there's tons and tons of greenery everywhere. All of the rushes are super duper tall around the water, which of course is great for all the wildlife that lives there. But when we went, the rushes were all kind of like pushed over from the wind, and of course, you know, they've been covered in snow and all that kind of stuff. So you could see all of the water. You could see clear across the water really easily without having to peer over the tall grass that's usually there, which was really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this little photograph. This is the one that I'm working off of here. And the reason why I really liked this picture is because I could finally see the totality of the water, and it created this great mirror surface for the sky. So like the clouds and everything. So it's kind of like a mid-horizon line, maybe slightly above mid. And of course, I'm reclined as I draw this, so none of these lines will be straight, but that's part of the fun. Oh yeah, the Constant is one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen in my life. I still think about it often in terms of structure and build up and delivery, like, it's pretty close to perfect for me. It was actually really fun, that meme, revisiting the 4 favorite TV episodes, because it's not something I think about a lot in terms of, like, I think this episode of TV is perfect. Like, I think about, I really like this show or whatever, but, like, thinking about the actual structure of the episodes and things like that, and the production, there's just some that are perfect. Which, of course, within the scope is still very subjective, but that's the whole fun of the meme, is saying, like, your own personal favorites. Okay, there's like a little island here. The islands in the marsh were very intense today because all of the Canada geese came back. And of course, they're very territorial and very confrontational creatures. So they had a lot to say. I'm gonna get some of these rushes and cattails. Of course, all the bric-a-brac down here. The main focus will be establishing both the sky up top and also the sky's reflection down below. So I'm going to get a little bit more permanent white and definitely another bunch of blue. Boop. Then I'll clean that palette a little bit. Oh, get back here, brush. And I'll need clean water for this part, so thankfully I've kept my secondary water cup here, because I use a water dish that has 2 different cells. One generally, I mean, in a in a perfect world, one of them generally I would keep for dirty water and one for clean, but sometimes in the heat of the painting, you know, you go into whichever one you go into at the time. Sometimes you need to work very, very fast when you're painting, especially with fickle media like water-based paint. Okay, so I'm going to go into the clean water and absolutely drench, so I'm going to move my phone away. Boy, that would be a blunder. I'm going to pick up my sketchbook at a slight angle and cover, most importantly, just cover the sky area and then the water area. And doing that will allow us to blend a lot easier. And then we'll go into that sky color, which is just going to be white and blue. I want to make the sky nice and bold. And I'm going to give the paper just a couple of seconds here to absorb some of that water. Kind of move it around here. I can just sort of manipulate it thanks to the power of gravity. Okay. And it doesn't matter if I go over the land surface here, the land value will be darker than the sky value. So now I'm going to use just a little bit of paper towel, and I'm going to use it to carve out some of those cloud shapes. But I'm going to do it blurrier in the water. I don't want definite edges in the water. I want it to be fluffy. There we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's see. So from here I can pretty much go into my calligraphy brush. I'm going to mix the sky color together. This is the great thing about atmospheric perspective, is you can just use the sky color that you already have and then mix land color into it, because the land that appears further back is going to incorporate that sky color. So mix in a little bit of red into that blue. This value needs to be way darker, so I'm going to go ahead and darken those up. Now, in painting at an angle like this, generally speaking, I like to think about the planes of the picture as it moves back into the distance. Of course, at a perspective, the stuff down here will be taller, and then it goes down and down and down until it's very thin back here. And that's what helps create that effect, the sort of illusion of distance. But I also want to think about the planes of the picture, light, dark, and how you can use that to keep a little bit of focus and sharpness in the picture. So So this yellow stripe that I'm adding in here is the grasses on the distant side of the water. And then I can also use that same color right here on this kind of jutting area. And this will be the lightest part of these grasses. Now, when I go in a little drier, I take some of that water out of the brush by blotting it. And then I can mix a slightly lighter color, a little bit more opaque, less water. And I can fan out the bristles. You see it kind of like makes the brush flat. And you can use that to get kind of a dry grass. Yeah, I feel very fortunate to live so close to this marsh. It's definitely a great place to go when life is too much. Just go there and listen to the ducks. Well, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Hello, all these new followers coming in. Hello, hello. A thing that I'm extremely excited to start doing again once we get a little further into the spring and then, of course, into the summer is actually going and painting at the marsh, which is something I got really into last summer. With everything that was going on, it was just nice to, get out of the house for a second, go where there's no people and it's safe, and just sit. The great thing about the marsh walk is there are park benches surrounding the entire thing. So as you're walking, there's a bench every, 100 meters or whatever. And so there's ample opportunity to just sit down, set up with my really simple field kit, which is generally just the sketchbook, a single brush or a couple of brushes, and just a few colors. And I can get that out and I can set it up pretty much wherever I am and then just take a look and sketch what I see. Really looking forward to getting back into that plein air lifestyle this summer. Oh, did we have another sketch request? My goodness. Oh, sure enough. We'll mark this one as complete. Armaldo. To the Google. That is a wild looking Pokemon. Let me pull up a good picture here. Probably not a good idea to put it on top of the water dish. Okay, luckily I did bring another card over to the table. So we'll do this drawing and then start wrapping up for the day. Are the doodads on the side of Armaldo's head the eyes? Or are the red parts the eyes? It looks like the things on the side of the eyes. Kind of like a hammerhead shark. good. Okay. Actually, can I? Let's see if I can zoom in the cam any further here. Wait, how tall is this Pokemon? I'm so glad that Bulbapedia exists. So at a glance, it can tell me how tall Pokemon are. 4'11", okay. 4'11". Now, there's a lot to this design. So one of the best things you can do is break down the shapes. And Armaldo's basic shape is those toys that you can like push them around but they never fall over. What is that, a Weeble? Weebles wobble but they don't fall down? Is there any other old people in the audience? I'm being extremely that meme where it's like, okay grandma, let's get you to bed. And I'm like, no, Weebles, remember? But that's the basic undershape of this Pokemon, where they have kind of like the small head part up at the top. I guess pear is also an apt shape basis. Now, as a rock bug, I assume that they're probably not very good at flying. So what I want to do here is like kind of an aspirational like have them looking up at the sky. They're up on a mountain, and then down below is the tree line. And then the distant mountains. And then way up there they see a jet flying overhead. And they're like, maybe me someday. Yeah, it's a very I believe I can fly moment, which is apt since there is a new Space Jam coming out. And there we go. What a lovely stream this has been. I'm going to put up my... Thank you so much for all the sketch requests today. I'll put up the sketchbook again, so we can look at that as we end today's stream. What a nice time we've had. We did that giveaway. Very excited to send that out. Started a new sketchbook. Got 2 sketches done. There's the first one. And there's the second. Thank you so much for everyone who followed today. Thank you so much for everyone who subscribed or gifted subs today. Extremely exciting. We are... Oh my gosh, we're almost halfway to the next sub giveaway. That's bonkers and extremely exciting. So Be sure to come back again on Tuesday for more gouache sketchbook fun. And then, of course, Copic Thursdays on Thursday. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Just gonna slowly close the million tabs that I have here on my computer as all of us in chat say goodbye for the day. Oh, Lion, thank you so much for gifting that sub. Clicking around here. This is the world's most casual sign-off. Thanks for coming out, everybody. I will see you on Tuesday. Goodbye.